Hello, my name is Leo. Welcome to another reading of the Elder Scrolls. Today we're going to be reading Hearth Fire, Book 9 of 2920, The Last Year of the First Era by Cadavac Townway. Second of Hearth Fire, 2920, Gideon, Black Marsh. The Empress Tavia lay across her bed. A hot, late summer wind she could not feel banging the shutters of her cell to and fro against the iron bars. Her throat felt like it was on fire, but still she sobbed uncontrollably, wringing her last tapestry in her hands. Oh, I forgot she made tapestries. Anyway. Her wailing echoed throughout the hollow howls of Castle Gervais, stopping maids in their washing and guards in their conversation. One of her women came up the narrow stairs to see her mistress, but her chief guard, Zook, stood at the doorway and shook his head. "She's just heard that her son is dead," he said quietly. "Ah, that's right, yes. Prince Judik, the good guy, he got fucking done in the end of the last book. That's very sad. Anyway. 5th of Hearthfire, 2920, the Imperial City, Cyrodiil. Your Imperial Majesty, said the Podgedate Vestidule Shire through the door. You can open the door. I assure you, you're perfectly safe. No one wants to kill you. Mara's blood, came the Emperor. Remian III's voice, muffled, hysterical, tinging with madness. Someone's assassinated the prince, and he was holding my shield. They could have thought he was me. You're certainly correct, Your Imperial Majesty, replied the Podgedate, expunging any mocking qualities from his voice, while his black slitted eyes rolled contemptuously. And we must find and punish the evildoer responsible for your son's death, but we cannot do it without you. You must be brave, your empire. You must be brave for your empire. There was no reply. At the very least, come out and sign the order for Lady Raja's execution, called the Podgedate. Wait, I thought we were going to let her go. What the hell? Let us dispose of the one traitor and assassin we know of. A brief pause, and then the sound of furniture scraping across the floor. Reminen opened the door just a crack, but the Podgedate could see his angry, fearful face, and the terrible mound of rippled tissue that used to be his right eye. Despite the best healers in the Empire, it was still a ghastly souvenir of Lady Raja's work in Thurzo's fortress. Oh, that's why she's dying. Because, yeah, she... Hand me the order, the Emperor snarled. I'll sign it with pleasure. 6th of Hearthfire, 2920. Gideon, Cyrodiil. The strange blue glow of the Wheel of Wisps, a combination, so she'd be told, of swamp gas and spiritual energy, had always frightened Tavia as she looked out her window. Now it seemed strangely comforting. Beyond the bog lay the city of Gideon. It was funny, she thought, that she had never stepped foot in its streets, though she had watched it every day for 17 years. Can you think of anything I've forgotten? She asked, turning to look back on the loyal Kothragi Zook. I know exactly what to do, he said simply. He seemed to smile, but the Empress realized that it was only her own face reflected in his silvery skin. She was smiling. She didn't even realize it. Make certain you aren't followed, she warned. I don't want my husband to know where my gold's been hiding all these years. And do take your share of it. You've been a good friend. Except for the fact that you ordered someone to kill my son! Well, that wasn't actually anyone's fault, I guess. The Empress Tavia stepped forward and dropped from sight into the mists. Zook replaced the bars on the tower window and threw a blanket over some pillows on her bed. With any luck, they would not discover her body on the lawn until morning, by which time she hoped Huh? By which time he hoped to be halfway to Mournhold. Wait. What? With any luck, they would not discover her body on the lawn until morning. Oh, she's got a suicide. Oh, man. Wait, so he's helping her kill herself? And he's, like, trying to pretend that she's still in bed. That's cold, man. That's cold. Well, anyway. I love how you're like, that's cool, man. Well, anyway, let's continue on with the story. 9th of Hearth Fire, 2920, Feringus, High Rock. The strange trees on all sides resembled knobby piles crowned with great bursts of reds, yellows, and oranges, like insect mounds caught fire. The Rothgrathrin, I can't say it. High Rothgrathrin mountains were fading into the misty afternoon. Tulada marveled at the sight, so alien, so different from Morrowind, as she plodded the horse forward into an open pasture. Behind her, head nodding against his chest, Cassia slept, cradling Bossery. For a moment, Tulada considered jumping the low painted fence that crossed the field, but she thought better of it. Let Cassia sleep for a few more hours before giving him the reins. As the horse passed into the field, Tulada saw the small green house on the next hill, half hidden in the forest. So picturesque was the image, she felt herself lull into a pleasant, half-sleeping state. Which is always a bad idea, we know that. A blast of a horn brought her back into reality with a shudder. Cassia opened his eyes. "Where are we?" he hissed. "I don't know," Tulada stammered, wide-eyed. "What is that sound?" "Orcs," he whispered. "A hunting party. Head for the thicket, quickly." Tulada trotted the horse into the small collection of trees. Cassia handed her the child and dismounted. He began pulling their bags off next, throwing them into the bushes. A sound started, then a distant rumbling of footfall, growing louder and closer. Tulada climbed off carefully and helped Cassia unburden the horse. All the while, Bosril watched open-eyed. Tulada sometimes worried that her baby never cried. Now she was grateful for it. With the last of the luggage off, Cassia slapped the horse's rear, sending it galloping into the field. Taking Tulada's hand, he hunkered down in the bushes. "With luck," he murmured, "they'll think she's wild or belong to the farm, and won't go looking for the rider." As he spoke, a horde of orcs surged into the field, blasting their horns. Tulada had seen orcs before, but never in such abundance, never with such bestial confidence. Roaring with delight on the horse and its confused state, they hastened past the timber where Cassia, Tulada, and Bosril hid. The wildflowers flew into the air as their stampede, powdering the air with seeds. Tulada tried to hold back a sneeze, and thought she succeeded. One of the orcs heard something, though, and brought another with him to investigate. Cassia quietly unsheathed his sword. Mustering all the confidence he could, his skills, such as they were in spying, not combat. But he vowed to protect Tulula and her babe for as long as he could. Perhaps he would slay these two, he reasoned. But not before they cried out and brought the rest of the horde. Suddenly, something invisible swept through the bushes. Like a wind. Ooh, magic. She's got the magic on her side. She's got the wild elves on her side, I guess. The orcs flew backwards, falling dead on their backs. Tulada turned and saw a wrinkled crone with bright red hair emerging from a nearby bush. "I thought you were going to bring her right to me," she whispered, smiling. "Best come with me." What? Oh, crone is an old woman. Alright. The three followed the old woman through a deep crevasse of bramble bushes that ran through the field towards the house on the hill. As they emerged on the other side, the woman turned to look at the orcs, feasting on the remains of the horse. A blood-soaked orgy, to the beat of multiple horns. Wait, they ate the horse? That horse yours? She asked. When Kesha nodded, she laughed loudly. Ha! That's rich meat, that is. Those monsters will have bellyaches and flatulence in the morning. Serves them right. Shouldn't we keep moving? Whispered Donata, unnerved by the woman's laughter. They won't come here, she grinned, looking at Boswell, who smiled back. They're too afraid of us. Is she a witch? She could be a witch. Donata turned to Cassia, who shook his head. Witches. I was right. Am I correct in assuming that this is old Badman's farm, the home of the Skeffington Coven? You are, pet. The old woman giggled girlishly, pleased to be so infamous. I am Mistress Skeffington. What did you do to those orcs? Asked Donata. Back in the thicket. Spirit fist right side the head. What, like a key blast? Sure. Mistia said, continuing the climb up the mountain. Ahead of them was the farmhouse grounds. A well, a chicken coop, a pond, women of all ages doing chores, the laughter of children at play. The old women turned and saw that Tulana did not understand. Don't you have witches where you come from, child? Not that I know of, she said. There are all sorts of wielders of magic in Tamriel, she explained. The Sijiks study magic like it's their painful duty. The battle mages in the army, on the other hand of the scale, hurl spells like arrows. We witches commune and conjure and celebrate. To fell these orcs, I merely whispered to the spirits of the air, Amaro, Pina, Tathana, the fingers of Kinnereth, the breath of the world, with whom I have an intimate acquaintance, to smack those bastards dead. You see, conjuration is not about might or solving riddles, or agonizing over musty old scrolls. It's about fostering relations, being friendly, you might say. Well, we certainly appreciate you being friendly with us, said Kassa. As well you might, coughed Mr. Your kind destroyed the orc homeland 2,000 years ago. Before that, they never came all the way up here and bothered us. Now, let's get you cleaned up and fed. With that, Festina led them into the farm, and Tulula met the family of the Skeffington. That's it, you got it. Skeffington Coven. Yeah, I need some water. I'm getting parched. You parched, bro? Pretty parched, bro. I need to get wet ASAP. Anyway. 11th of Hearth Fire, 2920, the Imperial City, Cyrodiil. Rija had not even tried to sleep the night before, and she found the somber music played during her execution to have a soporific effect. I don't know what that word means. It was as if she was willing herself to be unconscious before the axe stroke. Her eyes were bound, so she could not see her former lover, the Emperor, seated before her, glaring with his one good eye. She could not see the Poitiers vestigial Shai, his coil neatly wrapped beneath him, a look of triumph in his golden face. She could feel numbly the executioner's hand touch her back to steady her. She flinched like a she flinched like a dreamer trying to awake. The first blow caught the back of her head and she screamed. The first blow? Oh man, this executioner sucks. How many times has he got to fucking cut her? The next hacked through her neck and she was dead. Well, thank God it was the second one. Still, the Emperor turned to the portrait wearily. Now that's done. You should have. You said she had a pretty sister in Hammerfell named Corda. Oh really, dude? This guy's the worst, man. He's not the worst, but he's pretty bad. How many more pages? Oh, just two more. Fuck. 18th of Hearth Fire, 2920. Dwinman. High Rock. The horse the witches had sold him was not as good as his old one, Kasia considered. Spirit worship and sacrifice and sisterhood might be all well and good for conjuring spirits, but it tends to spoil beasts of burden. Still, there was little to complain about, with the Dunmer woman and her child gone. He had made excellent time. But why is the Dunmer woman and her child gone? I guess they're staying with the witches, huh? Ahead were the walls surrounding the city of his homeland. Almost at once he was set upon by his old friends and family. "How went the war?" cried his cousin, running to the road. "Is it true that Vivek signed a peace with the prince, but the Empire refuses to honor it?" "That's not how it was it?" asked a friend, joining them. "I heard that the Dunmer had the prince murdered and then made up a story about a treaty, but there's no evidence for it." "Isn't there anything interesting happening here?" Kasia laughed. "I really don't have the least interest in discussing the war, Vivek." "You missed the procession of Lady Corda," said his friend. "She came across the bay with full entourage and then east to the Imperial City." "But that's nothing. What was Vivek like?" asked his cousin eagerly. "He's supposed to be a living god." "If Sugarev steps down and they'll need another god of madness, he'll do," said Kasia haughtily. "And the women?" asked the lad, who had only seen Dunmer ladies on very rare occasions. Kasia merely smiled. Tulula Skeffington flashed into his mind for an instant before fading away. She would be happy with the coven, and her child would be well cared for. But they were part of the past now, a place and a war he wanted to forget forever. Dismounting his horse, he walked into the city, chatting of trivial gossip of the life on the Iliac Bay. Wait, it doesn't say the next book. Huh. That's interesting, because we're not done. No, we're not. There's book 10, Frostfall, and then book 11, Sun's Dusk, and then book 12, Evening Star. Well, that was Hearthfire, book 9 of 2920, the last year of the First Empire era. I keep wanting to say Empire. By Koviak Downway. Next time, we will be reading book 10. What's it called again? Frostfall? Frostfall. But for now, my name is Leo, and I'll see you next time.